welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. And today we're going to the stars. We're going to do Star Wars. This is Star Wars Rivals, an expandable game system. What does that mean? It means it's collectible. This is the premiere set Series 1. I think they were going to come out with a Series 2. I don't know if that's out or if it will be out, especially by the time I'm posting this. It might already be out, but I ended up picking this up as part of Kilroy's Bargains, found it on sale, and so I thought I would try it out. And it basically is the minis are kind of just window dressing. They're really not necessarily needed to the game. It's basically a card game, but it's a decent card game at that. And when I say it's collectible, it starts off, you get two light side, two dark side characters. These are the ones you get. You get cards for them and you get locations. You're going to be battling over locations. And that is, if you're familiar with Smash Up, it has some of that feel where you're going to be battling over locations, and whoever, once you get to the end of the game, whoever has the most points, because the locations will have a point value or victory value, that's the winner. In the collectible side, it has these, at least Series 1 has these little box. This is a white light side box, so you'll get a couple of characters in this box. And then they have this, the rare, the holographic, which is kind of odd because the regular minis are painted, and the rare, the ones you want to try to collect, right, are these just blue holographic. So that's kind of switched in my mind. But so you can buy these packs and get extra characters. Again, it's collectible. You don't know what's going to come in a pack. You know what's coming in this one, but you don't know what comes in this. And then the dark side also has their character booster packs as well. And these, again, are for Series 1, which goes with this premiere set. I might do some shorts on this if I can get these down to a minute. I might open these up in a short. I don't know if they require a whole video, but we'll see what happens there. Looking at the back of the box, you can see some of the characters that are in this set. There's the regular characters, and then you get the holographic version of them. And this is who's concluded in this premiere set. The dark side and the light side right there. And there's an example of play. As you can see here, the characters are mainly just, the minis are just there to show what location you're at. It's really has to do with card play. And then there's a dice that determines which of the different locations are going to score. And it could be all three, or it could be just the highest point total one. So, how you allocate your resources or your characters is not, it's not a straight up perfect information. It might change over time, and you need to adapt accordingly. But it's all about the card play in your hand, and when we get in the box, you'll see that. This, to me, is somewhat reminiscent of another Star Wars mini game, and I kind of call this a mini game. The game itself is not overly complex, and again, it's really the minis that's the sell point here, right? But this is kind of reminiscent of Star Wars Destiny, which again was a card game, but it was really fueled by dice. And I keep all my dice here. I just kept them in a plastic. I put all these in a plastic container, but you have all these different kind of dice. And again, it was a card game as well. So there's different cards. There's locations in that game as well. But there are these different characters that correspond with the dice. So Poe here would have his own dice that right there. In fact, it's right there. And this is what's on that sides of the dice. And this does different things, like attack or melee or collect resources. And you need resources to place cards out or place dice out. And so, it's card-based, but it's also really dependent upon the dice, because the dice and the different sides of the dice are what kind of determine the game. And so this was a situation where the dice were kind of the attraction here, because they have imagery from, the different characters and the different sides and what have you. But they were really instrumental in the game, where in here the minis are just a location marker. Here the dice really made a difference in the game and were the heart of the game, And then there was some card play as well of what they could that would go along with the dice. And so to me, this is kind of reminiscent of that, but this is kind of a watered down version. The dice and the cards go hand in hand in this game, whereas in this game, it's going to be primarily the cards. Another mini game that I'll talk a little bit about, and I might cover Star Wars and Destiny in a little bit more detail later, but it was collectible as well, and you got the random die. So again, kind of akin to this, but I don't think that's being supported anymore. And I don't know if that company kept the license or what have you. A lot of this is based on licensing. You know, a company gets the license, and then they want to come up with a game that, you know, maximizes their profit, right? That's what they're in the business for. Another mini game, though, that really is not compared to this, but I just feel like I want to mention is Box Busters. I don't know if people know about this. I end up getting these in in bargain bins as well. But there was different battles, and this was Battle Yavin. And there was, and you have this mat that you would lay out, and you would lay out your location, and then you rolled dice, and you had markers, and you had plastic bits. I mean, the bits were kind of cool. And that was the selling point on this, were these little locations, because you had these, push that button there, that is the location. So I liked them just because of the little scenery. It was like remind me of like my daughter's Polly Pockets, right? I thought they were kind of cool there. But there was a game in here, not much of a game. This was really the selling point. But if they were all boxed up, then that means shields were up. And so, you know, they were protected. But then when they were out, then you can attack these locations, and you roll dice, and you mark them on how you attack it and the like. And there were several different locations that came along with this. I'm always picking up stuff, right? And there were several different battles that you could do. Like there, right there, that looks like the Death Star battle right there. And so there, you got to drop it down the hole there. So I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, again, it's gimmickry, right? It's very much that's the selling point. But and there's not much of a game here. So the interesting thing is, I think Destiny, there was definitely a good game in there. But based off the dice, this one, I think the card game is decent as well. But you know, the minis are, you know, just window dressing, is my understanding of that. So let's get inside this. That's a lot of you didn't know you were going to get a tour of mini Star Wars games, but yet you did. You're getting the grand tour today. Oh, I can't even get this open. So see what we have inside here. And when in each of these different packs, they're going to give you not only the characters, the minis, but they give you additional cards. They give you additional locations, because some of the locations, like that one has a point value there, but some of the locations actually have special abilities, and they might be better for the light side or the dark side. And so if you're playing a dark side, then you might want to bring those locations to the match. And so each side brings a certain number of locations, and then you mix it up, and then those are the locations you're going to fight over in the match. So so that's a little bit of the interactive aspect of this as well. So here are the cards you get in, and I think that's the rules. Here are the minis. This is what you came for, right? Ugh, she's a tough one to get out there. There we go. Oh, a little bit of warp on the sword there. And then we got good old Darth. And they're decent. They're a little chibi. You know, the heads are, I don't know if these are, heads maybe a little bit bigger than normal. Then you get, but I mean, nice paint job, nice decent mini there. Again, you can tell they're probably going for a younger Star Wars fan in picking these out, in the way they're displayed. Then you get the die here, which this is the one that determines. So like if you roll that, then this is going to be the highest location point value. That one is location 2 and 3, and that's all 3 locations. There's 3 locations out at a time. So that's the die. A little bit interesting looking die there. And then these are counters. You know, there's the high ground counter. That's who's, I guess, got the initiative and puts locations out first, or puts their people out first. You got some other tokens here that might match up with some of the abilities that are on the cards. So there you have that counter sheet there. And let's look at the cards here. Doing this backwards. Normally I do the do the rules first. But I kind of sat on this for a while. I saw this at my local gaming store, and I said, whatever. And then when I saw this go on like a bargain bin type thing, which I know that's usually not a good sign, but maybe it'll be supported. But I decided to pick it up. Cards are okay. They're not, I mean, this is from Funko, right? So they're not your normal kind of card backing. They're a little bit on the thin side. And then, so here, and they're weird shaped. You know, it's a little bit of an odd shape here to the cards, but these are the cards. So this is Ventress's cards that she's going to have in her deck. There's Darth's cards. And so there is some playability here. You know, this tells you what you move ally or enemy to Darth Vader's location. If that character is not Force user, place -1 on them. And that's where these tokens come in. So, and then you're going to add up your power at the location. Each of these characters have different powers. And then you will see who wins the location, right? So each of them have little different cards here. This is Clone Commander Cody's cards. And then you got Luke's cards. And then you got a Rebel Trooper right there. So those are the cards. Kind of thin, but I mean, there's definitely decisions and playability there. Then you have the locations that come with the basic set. And so that's the value of that location. You're going to play several rounds until the end of the game, and then you'll just add up these total and see who wins the game. But then there's also some special abilities on these locations as well. I don't know what that means over there, but see, if you score this location, you may add 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. So again, this feels very much like Smash Up, and I don't know if I've done any videos on Smash Up. I might need to do some of that. I played a lot of Smash Up. My kids love that game. But it has a little bit of a Smash Up feel where you're trying to win locations and then add up points. Now this is interesting. These are the character cards that you get here, or the tokens. So there's the Clone Commander, so that goes with this guy right here, and then you've got Luke, of course. And then there's, I guess, the ready side, and then there is, well, maybe upgrades. Maybe there's just a back side to it. This is the side. So that's his power, I guess, 5, and Luke is 4, maybe. That's the power there. Darth is a 6. That sounds about right. And then Ventress is a 3. So there is Ventress right there. So, and you do get a token for a third. I mean, you really need 3 players to play this game, but that's something that a lot of people have criticized out of the box, is that you get 2 and 2 in the basic set, but you really need 3 to play. And so you get this extra token. You get an Imperial Trooper and a Rebel Trooper at a power of 2. So you can play with a 3-player game. And they have a card in there. I think there was an Imperial Trooper card as well. They don't get much of a deck, right? They just get 1 card. those poor expendable red shirt type folks, right? So there you have it. Oh, let's look at the rules. The rules is going to be this fold up here. And this is your instructions on how to play the game. There's your setup. And so not that complicated, you know, 7 steps to set up, and very easy, straightforward, plus images of how to set up. And then here's how to play. You can deploy characters, you roll the die, you play action card, you score the locations rolled, and then you do end of round. And then when the location deck runs out, so how many locations you started with, when that runs out, then you score all remaining locations each round. You don't roll the dice, and then you set up points. So there you have it. And there's a card detail, tell you what the different, for an action card, for a location card, and then for the character card. So there you have it. And then key concepts. So here we have missions and influence and key concepts. So there's some keywords on some of the cards that might come into play. So there you have it. That is the rules for the Expandable, which they mean collectible, card game, Rivals, Star Wars Rivals. And there you have it. So that if any of you have played this, love to know your thoughts on this. Or if you want to talk about Destiny, or if you've got box blasters, I'd love to hear what you think about that game. I played a little bit. I mean, it's really not. The bits are cool and small, and that's what makes it interesting. But there's more game here, definitely, and definitely more game in Destinies. So there you have it. That's what I have for you. I'll probably do these as some one-offs, maybe shorts if I can rip into that in less than a minute. But there you have it. That is Rivals, the expandable game system, the Star Wars Rivals. Again, let me know your thoughts on this and what you think about it. Thanks all. Thanks for watching.